This is lesson 2. Last week we got to experience a joyous moment with Jacob. His long journey to find his uncle was finally over. Today we are going to move very quickly through a 14-year span. It's a story of love, dedication, betrayal, deceit, and what appears to be God doing the absolute opposite of what he said he was going to do. God said that he would protect, and sure doesn't seem like that is what he is doing. However, let's keep these 3 things in mind during our lesson today. Number 1, God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. 2, God's ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are greater than our thoughts. And 3, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. He will make the path straight. Jacob stays with his uncle Laban for a month. Laban has 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel. All we know about them at this time is found in verse 17. It says that Leah is the oldest and has weak eyes, but for Rachel, the younger sister, was beautiful. Laban approaches Jacob and asks what Jacob wants to be paid for his work. Jacob is in love with Rachel, and so he makes a deal with Laban that he will work for Laban for 7 years to be able to marry Rachel. I love verse 20. It says, "So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seem like only a few days to him because of his love for her." I am sure by the end of those 7 years, he is so excited to marry his love. He has been working and waiting for so long. He goes to his soon-to-be father-in-law and says that he is ready to marry Rachel. In the NASB, it says that Laban brought all the men together and had a feast. The word feast, the definition in Hebrew, is feast, drink, and banquet. Maybe a kind of bachelor party? I don't know. In the morning, when Jacob wakes up, he looks over, and to his great shock, there's Leah. What? It says, in the evening, he, which is Laban, took his daughter Leah and brought her to him, and Jacob went in to her. So it came about in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. So the trickster became the tricked, and it does seem like Laban and Rebekah, his sister, are cut from the same cloth. Remember, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "Behold, I heard your father speak to your brother Esau, saying, 'Bring me some game and prepare a savory dish for me that I may eat, and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death.'" Yes, Laban and Rebekah seem to be much alike in their scheming ways, although this time it is Jacob who gets the short end of the stick. As we have already learned, Jacob went along with Rebekah to trick his father to give him Esau's blessing. However, I am sure Jacob wasn't thrilled to be on this end of the tricking. All of this does make me wonder, how did Jacob not know that it was Leah when she was brought in? Was Rachel and Leah also behind the scheme, or were they tricked as well? What was Leah's reaction to Jacob's disappointment when he saw that it was her and not her sister? As I was searching for some answers, I found a website that I would love for you to go to and read the information there. I will put the link in the comments. Laban tells Jacob to finish out the week with Leah, and then he would let Jacob marry Rachel, but only for another 7 years of work. You know, it does impress me that Jacob did work for Laban for another 7 years. He didn't run away with Rachel. He didn't leave Leah out in the dust, although I am sure Leah may have felt that way, especially in the beginning. The story is a little sad, and it makes my heart hurt for Jacob, even if some feel like he got what he deserved. My heart really hurts for Leah. As we find out Through next week's lesson, we will see Leah's pain. She just wants to be loved by her husband. Jacob may have woke up that morning expecting to see beautiful Rachel laying next to him, and yet ended up disappointed and greatly angered to find Leah in his bed. However, I want to show you a glimpse of Leah's future. When Jacob was about to die, he gathered his sons together to bless them. And he said to them, "I am about to be gathered to my people. Bury me with my fathers in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought for a burial site." There they buried Abraham and his wife Sarah. There they buried Isaac and his wife Rebekah. And there I buried Leah. Rachel's ending is sad indeed, and we don't hear much about Leah after what I call the baby war. Jacob loved Rachel and favored the sons that came directly from her the most. However, I am no scholar, but I don't think that Jacob had to bury Leah with those from his family. Maybe, just maybe, she did come to a place where she really was loved by Jacob. We will never truly know this side of heaven. One thing is certain, God is going to show us next week how much he loved Leah and his purpose for her. If you are in a place in your life right now where it doesn't seem fair, or the situation is way different than you expected it to be, I just want you to hold on to those three truths and to think about Jacob. He may have struggled with disappointment, I'm sure, maybe even unforgiveness, maybe even a little bit of bitterness. We don't know if he really spent every single day trusting in God. Were there times when he complained about the workload? Was there times where he'd be like, "I already worked with this"? Or what it was like to have to deal with two wives that, by the way, are sisters? I mean, I'm sure that caused a lot of strife in and of itself. Throwing sisters together too, I'm sure that there was a lot of jealousy that happened, especially since Jacob loved Rachel and didn't love Leah. Going through this lesson, I've been kind of thinking about my own life, and actually I have realized I'm kind of in the same situation. It's obviously a little bit different. In April 2014, we got a text asking if we could go and meet our directors that we worked with at the Lewis house. It turned out that they were closing the Lewis house, and it was extremely sudden. Thankfully, they were willing to let us live in the house for 6 months, which I'm so thankful for. It gave us time to be able to find a house and to move well, I guess. But it was extremely disappointing to me. It hurt my heart a lot. I loved the Lewis house. For those of you that don't know about the Lewis house, it was just a neighborhood ministry. Really, we just lived out to love your neighbor as yourself. And I mean, we had a huge basement that was we used it like as a community center. And so we served soup on Thursdays, and I did kids dance. We did Jesus in the Park on Saturdays, and just whatever. We did community parties and just all kinds of stuff, whatever we could do to reach out to our neighbors. It was my absolute heartbeat. I loved it, every single moment of it. And after my cancer fight, I was looking forward to getting back into it. I really missed the kids, especially, and doing dance with them. And to have the doors just shut like that, it was hard. It was hard to deal with the disappointment of that. I found myself very confused and upset and angry over that. And sometimes my attitude wasn't very good at all. But I've really had to work on it. And so I feel like I mean, it's a different situation, but the heart may be the same, or at least close to being the same as with Jacob. I'm sure that he was confused and discouraged and Laban was family. I'm sure that there was part of him that felt very betrayed by this action. And, and I definitely did too, and I probably shouldn't have, I guess. And I should have trusted God more, but I can see now why. Maybe that wasn't his plan. Maybe it was, you know? Just like with Jacob, I mean, he used Leah. And as we're going to find out, God had huge plans for Leah's children. And I can see how stepping away from the Lewis house has given me time to heal, physically. And I mean, I worked really hard at the Lewis house, so I don't think I think I would have been way more disappointed and upset with myself at not being able to keep up with the pace of the Lewis house if I had taken it the way that I had left it, you know what I mean? Just jumped right in. I wasn't always very honorable with my thoughts, but I've really tried to trust God and tried to see things through his eyes. And I see the good of us stepping back and me being able to heal and rest, and my family to heal and rest too. The cancer fight was not just me going through it, it was my whole family, and we needed time to heal. Sam and I were just trying to jump right back into everything, and I think God was really protecting us as much as it hurt. I have absolutely no idea why God allowed Laban to trick Jacob, but God really used the situation, I mean, hugely, as we're going to see as we continue on this session. I kind of want you to ponder in your own life, either maybe in the past or maybe what you're going through right now, of a situation that's extremely disappointing or confusing or feels like betrayal. And ask God to give you the ability to see through his glasses